Two of the Meth and Substance Abuse Conference here in Casper, and we're talking with,
Jessica Winkler,
and your job title is,
Assistant Training Manager, Department of Corrections.
and what do they have you doing?
At the Meth Conference,
No, I'm actually at the
Department of Corrections?
Yeah,
I am part of a team who trains all of our new staff as they come on board, whether they work in our institutions or in our field offices, as well as some ongoing training for everybody that works within our department.
so your folks deal with people that have gotten in trouble for substance abuse,
Yes.
And what is it that you train them to do?
Their day-to-day job duties, so it could be a number of things: assessing folks when they come to us, whether
That's a
it's,
big one right there.
yeah, determining risk levels, talking about how to talk someone down maybe when they are in crisis and having some aggressive conversations with us. We train them, in their day-to-day job duties, some safety training. The list goes on and on. When you're working with human beings, you're working with the entire human. So we have to teach people some of those basic duties.
So in most cases, we're talking about drug and alcohol abuse.
It's quite prevalent, yes, in that population, and not everybody, but quite a few folks are touched by the drug and alcohol abuse.
And the courts often sentence folks to go into rehab or to serving out their term, or if they screw up.
There's a lot of times that component, more often than not, of substance abuse. So the courts will recognize that and have them be assessed for the proper level of treatment, and then hold them to that for their sentence, whether it be on probation or either incarceration and then parole afterwards.
We have some of our parts of society that believe that's it, throw away the book with certain types of continued crimes. And then there are some that believe, wait a minute, these folks never had a chance. We need to see who they really are and give them a good start in life. The ones that are going south and committing petty crimes and sometimes very major crimes, what is at the root of it, do you think?
It's different for each person, really.
But when it involves substance abuse, what then?
Again, it's hard to say. It's different for each person. Some people it's trauma. Some people it's that long-term abuse that's now starting to drive their every decisions, and that's when we see people turn to crime.
Families break apart, single family, moms and dads and whatnot. It's all of society's issues coming up at once.
Sure, yeah.
What's some of the commonality of why kids make wrong decisions?
Gosh. Some of it's peer pressure, of course. We know that, especially when we're talking about kids, it's a lot of competition, want to keep up with the other kids, and when someone introduces you to drugs or alcohol, or talks to you about maybe committing a crime with them, in order to fit in, some kids are gonna, even though they know it's wrong, get involved in that criminal lifestyle. And unfortunately, not everybody can be a one and done, and it continues on.
And for the folks that repeatedly get in trouble and go to rehab, and are there any percentages on how many sort of make it first time, second time, third time, never time?
I'm sure there's some out there. I don't have any off the top of my head that I can accurately give you.
But your people that do they have to get tests on folks that have been in substance abuse problems? And
Like drug tests?
yes.
Yeah.
And
That's part of the accountability piece.
And what happens if they don't pass these tests?
Again, it's really individualized on, really finding out why. Why are they continuing? What can we do to help them?
Do you believe in some cases that the kids that are repeat offenders might have done better with a more stable situation in families? And
Personally, that could be a component of it. It's there's no blanket answer, unfortunately, for
Right.
for each individual person. For some people, they came from some chaotic places, and certainly a little more structure could have probably been good for them.
how much of this is, I mean, in their jobs, how much leeway do they have to get kids back on track? I guess because you're part of it. I mean, they're coming out of jail and whatnot, and they've got probation and whatnot. I mean, is that different with each one? Everybody has a different style. Because you said you train them, but I mean, everybody has to deal with a different person every time they come out. They go in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we train him for that. There's no cookie cutter. I can't hand each person that comes out a list of things they need to do and expect
Wouldn't
success.
that be nice though if we could?
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't have a job. I'd have a
Here,
different
get up
job,
in the
of course.
morning,
Yeah.
work out, just do something nice for
follow
somebody.
these 5 things and you're good to go.
Kiss your mother, something like that. But obviously, their opinion of what's going on out there and how somebody is dealing with that does matter on this, beyond just a test they may take, right?
Yeah. I mean, we want to look at the totality of the circumstances, and then there's a little bit of leeway we have to answer some of those violations with sanctions and then interventions. So we can punish the behavior, but that's not going to change it. We have to teach an alternate behavior, something to replace that undesired behavior in order to expect real success.
I guess we had a program along the way that would put kids back out into sort of situations like survival kind of things that take them away from the just going to jobs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we had one program that went away that did that, in which they, I guess, had to deal out in the wilds with.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. How far-reaching is the system in terms of trying to find different ways to deal with this situation?
Again, we really encourage that to look for, what's available in your communities. Each community in Wyoming is a little bit different. We deal with a lot of rural communities with less resources, but there's always things popping up. People want to help. There's a lot of people in this industry that want to help, and so utilizing that, those resources, those other folks, and things that may be better suited for certain people.
In terms of this conference, what you said you were on a committee that
Yeah.
and your committee did what?
Helped organize the conference, from beginning to end. Start at the beginning of the year, or we'll start right away after this conference ends, and talk about what people liked, what are new trends, how do we start courting some speakers to come and educate the folks in the community of Wyoming, next year on some of the same subjects or different subject matter, what's new out there, and make it really worthwhile so we can continue to make a difference in our communities.
It is a well-rounded conference that tries to do what? Besides educate, it's trying to give you
connect people too. And I think that's a big piece, is that networking and finding out who else is out there, who's able to be part of your network, your case plans, and make a difference.
What percentage of families out there do you believe are dealing with this issue in their family at some point?
At some point,
Yeah.
it's touched all of us, one way or another.
And how many years have you been doing this with
the Department of
Corrections?
Corrections,
Yeah.
11,
11.
11 with the Department of Corrections, probably closer to 14 or 15 in the industry itself.
If you were to try and sum that up for somebody not in that business, what have you learned?
Addiction touches all walks of life. No one's immune to it. And when you are primarily dealing with people in their worst moments after their worst decision, You learn that we all could have been there at one point in time, and people deserve that second chance. And to know them in order to help them is probably one of the most important things.
In your mind, people have been working years on this problem. When do you believe we get a breakthrough in this?
I don't think that question's answerable.
There is no
There's
pill
no answer,
that anybody can take.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
would. They'd prescribe it if they could.
Absolutely, they would. Yeah. That doesn't mean we give up.
Just don't give up.
Yeah. If this week I can help one person, and I mean that's worth it. So we don't give up, and that's why we've got a room full of close to 200 people here to learn more about the industry they work in and the people they're helping, because they're not going to give up either.
All right, last question. Can you point to a situation in which everybody gave up and something just clicked, and whoever it was that got in trouble got their act together?
Oh, I can think of several situations where that was the case, where it was like, I mean, hopeless, but you turn around and that person is thriving. Sometimes it's on that
Must
fourth or
make you
fifth
feel
chance.
good.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
All right, you have the last word. Anything you want to add to this?
I don't think so.
All right, we appreciate you talking with us. Thanks. All right.